Hey y'all, welcome in. Long time no see. Welcome, Metatron Mystic. I'm Brandy. How's everybody doing? Well, I'm in a new location, so moving and doing all that fun stuff. I'm sure a lot of you guys have been going through a lot of transitions, a lot of maybe upheavals. I got a new deck that I want to use tonight. It's called For the Love of Dragons. And as you know, things change around here, I'm probably going to switch it around a little bit, mess with some lighting and stuff, but we will get it all together. It just takes time to get all these things. So I appreciate you guys being patient. But yeah, this deck is amazing. I mean, I have not used it for a video yet, but I thought tonight would be perfect, especially with Sag energy. So, and I mean, the cards are amazing. So we're going to use that one tonight. I also pulled out my trusty Sacred Geometry Activations Oracle. I'm going to use that one tonight as well for overall collective. Sorry, I've got my kitty cat over here trying to jump. But I'm going to pull a card from that one. And then, oh, excuse me, we may pull one from Soul's Journey and Numerology. I don't know yet. I'm kind of just going with what I'm guided to do by Spirit. So, first thing I will do, which we're going to do Sacred Geometry. I'm going to pull one from that. Overall, collectively, though, I'm sure a lot of you have been experiencing wouldn't really say chaos, but a lot of like chaotic energy because of all of the shifts and all of the changes that's been going on. Lots of doors closing, new ones opening up. Some of you may have had a few things pop up, shadow wise, things that we thought maybe we already handled or dealt with. I know that a lot of that stuff has popped up in my own life. Bottom of the deck, we got 31 magic. Some of you have probably been receiving quite a bit of downloads, especially once we went through Scorpio season. Libra brought a lot of transition. Scorpio season, a lot of death and transformation, a lot of ego stuff coming up, a lot of you are finding out your path and purpose. You're starting to step more into that, be more expressive, be more open to new things. Let's see what card we got for overall. Oh, Merkaba. Solar plexus. Okay, if any of you guys have been seeing a lot of yellow, so pay attention to the vehicles you see in your everyday experience in the 3D reality. If you see a lot of yellow, this message is probably for you. If there's anything with your solar plexus chakra that you are currently healing and working on right now, the solar plexus has to do with our sense of self, our personal power, our willpower, knowing of who we are and what our contribution to the whole is. And I just mentioned that with the channeled message with that magic card about finding out those parts of you that are magical that you may not have been aware of. Like I said, downloads you may have received, whether it be in the dream state, whether it just be everyday life, and all of a sudden you hear a song or you hear someone talking, next to you. And next thing you know, it's like aha, epiphany moments, The other card that came out with the solar plexus was the Merkaba, which is a 32, which is a 5. And most people who have studied numerology know that 5s are about change. They can be about upheavals and things like that. But that's just because anytime we go through changes, things that, most of us are used to doing the same thing, habitual type creatures. When something changes and shifts in our lives, a lot of us don't know how to prepare for that or how to handle that in that moment. So, to me, that is very much 5 energy because it's a change, it's a shift. So it's something that we haven't quite faced, something that we've not experienced. Any of those things can bring a little anxiousness with yourself. You feel that anxiety, that anxiousness. But the Merkaba also represents self, but it talks about ability to use our consciousness to traverse into other layers of reality and dimensions. It activates our access to our Akashic inheritance as well, merging the totality of our experiences into our present to serve our highest purpose. Another card representing purpose. Seeing that equals an 8. That equals a 4. Some of you can be seeing 4s. 1, 2, 3. You can be seeing 3, 3, 3. Yeah, and then we've got 23 on dynamic right here, which was on the bottom of the deck after we shuffled, which is 23. That's another 5. So a lot of changes for everyone. A lot of energy surrounding that. And that can be anything in your experience, anything in your reality. Changes with jobs, changes with relationships, and relationships can be any relationships in your life, family, friends, collaborations, business partners, all of those things are relevant at this time. Because we've already gone through the death and rebirth through Scorpio energy. We're now in Sag energy. Sag is all about fire. It's about passion. I mean, it's a fire sign. It's our passions, our creativity coming out. Sag is also 8th house, I believe. Mysticism, curiosities, things like that. Things that, the esoteric. But pay attention to the numbers that you see. If you're not sure what certain numbers mean, you can always look them up. Spiritual meaning of, and then type in whatever number you're consistently seeing. That is your guides and your angels, ancestors, higher self trying to give you a message. So pay attention to those. Also pay attention to the songs that you hear. A lot of those are messages, especially first thing in the morning. If you wake up and there's a song in your head, play that song. More than likely, there's a message in that song for you. Every time I've had that happen to me, which I usually get songs every morning, that song is relevant for the energy of that day. Let's see, one more time for this dragon deck. Like I said, I haven't used it yet. I've thumbed through it a little bit, but I have not used it anywhere. So first time. There's lots of first time energy going on. Lots of number 1 leap of faith energy. Doing new things. A lot of the collective is stepping into doing new things right now. The bottom of this deck is the storyteller, which, oh my goodness, is a number 8. Imagine that. Sag energy. And I love dragons, so this deck is really amazing. And I've not really looked at these cards, so I want to kind of look at this for a minute. I mean, he's got a book in his hand. So a lot of you guys also may be researching things at this time, studying. Like I said, Sag energy is, as esoteric, very studious. We love to research different things. Some of you may feel a little studious at this time, in the aspect of being very serious about things, even though Sag is more playful energy. So I feel like a lot of you are being tested in that aspect to where you're being asked to step more into the fun side of Sag, the explorative side of Sag. We have times when we are in the rabbit hole and we're doing the research and we're really delving into the depths. But there's also times when we need to take that time to play and have fun. And so a lot of you guys are probably feeling this energy right now, this very uplifting, exuberant energy, fun energy. So it's a good time to embrace that right now. Allow it to flow. Okay, allow it to flow through you. Any emotions, anything that comes up during this time, look at it. If you need to, journal about it. Whatever practice works best for you, because we are all different and we all handle things differently. So do whatever practice works best for you during this time. But anything that arises, it's something that you're being asked to look at. It's something that you need to face, something that you haven't quite looked at yet. I've had that happen personally in my own life, and I feel like collectively this is something that the rest of the collective is going through. So, it's time to look at that stuff, the stuff that we may have been afraid of, And most of it is stuff that, that comes from childhood. Things that were probably fears when we were kids. And we attached certain meanings to that when we were younger. And now that we're older, whatever we thought was scary or intimidating as children, whatever meanings we attached to that, and the ways that we chose to protect ourselves during that is irrelevant now. We're being asked to look back at those things and say, was this something that I really need to be afraid of? Or is this something that when I was little was scary, but is it really something I should be afraid of now? Or is it, false evidence appearing real? Is it something that I am prepared, that I've done the work? Is it something I'm prepared to handle right now? Do I really need to hold on to this? And the shadow came out. Of course. And it's a 5. Bottom of the deck, the idea hatcher. So I really love this deck. It's beautiful. This is the card, the shadow. So some of you, like I said earlier, are facing your shadow. You're facing those fears, those things that as a kid, as a child, made shadows or whatever in your room and you were terrified of, but it was nothing but a reflection of something, or a jacket hanging out of your closet, or, kind of like the movie Monsters, Inc., where the kid's afraid and looks at the closet and it's a jacket, but then turns away and it is actually a monster, but it's not really a scary monster, These are the things we're looking at right now. And that's a 5. So 5s are about change. 5s are about changing our perception and how we see these things. Because these are things that we established as children. Because with this feminine energy right here, you see it, how innocent she looks there. And that gives me very childlike energy. So those things, is it something we're truly still afraid of? Or is that something that we told ourselves as kids? Is it something that we need to hold on to? Is it something that really, like by us holding on to this, is it really keeping us safe? Or are we blocking ourselves from other blessings and other creations and blocking ourselves from a lot of other things because we're holding on to this? We're holding on to this fear or whatever this is in your own life, whatever the shadow is. A lot of us have done the shadow work, but there's always going to be something. There's always going to be something because, and it really just depends on where you are on your journey. It depends on, everyone is in a different place. Everyone are different ages. And all of us have built up a certain amount of fear relating to childhood things. A lot of us have done a lot of healing and we've healed a lot of those childhood wounds and we've reprogrammed that. But there are things that we have forgotten about that are still in the subconscious. And those things are coming up because they're needing to be looked at so we can let them go. Because we all know we can't receive anything new in our lives unless we make space. And that's how we make space. Clear that stuff out. Just like reprogramming a computer. You got to rewrite the old code. And that's what we're doing. So the bottom of the deck is a 38, the idea hatcher. And that equals an 11. So 1, new beginnings. Ones are about beginnings, creation. But 2, twos are also about pathways, decisions. The idea hatcher. So, with this Sag energy is creative energy. It's passionate energy. It's about looking at those things that really bring you joy. I mean, if you can see this, she's looking at that dragon right there. And she's got that little dragon back behind her. I think that's a dragon. It looks like one. It's like a little mini, like it's her little mini pet. It's super cute. But to me, this is saying she's looking at those things. She's looking at this dragon here. And she's looking from a perspective, because she's up on a ledge, like a very high ledge. So she's seeing from a higher perspective, getting the downloads is what I'm getting here from this, from her ancestors, because to me, dragons are very ancient. So that's ancient energy. That is ancestors, Akashic records. And that was already mentioned earlier when we were looking at the Sacred Geometry Oracle cards that came out first, talking about Akashic records. So a lot of that is going on right now. You guys are getting these downloads. You're getting these reminders that are popping up in your everyday 3D reality that says, hey, this is something that you enjoyed, but you don't remember. So we are reminding you, we are placing these little pieces, these little breadcrumbs for you to figure this out. And they'll talk to you in many different ways, through music, through movies, through whatever is in your 3D reality. Like I said, pay attention to the cards that you see. What are the colors? Because there's always a pattern. If you pay attention, you will see it. You'll see the same cars go by at a certain time every day. It's almost like Truman Show. It's crazy. But I have done this over the past year, and you will see certain colors. And when you're feeling a certain energy, you'll have other ones randomly go by that'll be those colors. And they have to do with certain chakras. So the one that we got was solar plexus. So I feel a lot of you guys are probably seeing a lot of yellow. So if you are seeing yellow vehicles or just anything that stands out to you that is that color, pay attention. That means that there's some stuff going on that you're working on right now, and it can just be subconscious, relating to the solar plexus. And that's about, like I said, sense of self, personal power, and willpower. But lots of changes going on. There's healing going on with that chakra right now. And what is going to assist in this from these other cards that I have, I'm getting by embracing the Sag energy of creation and passion. That's the joy, the joy of making new things and seeing things come to life that you love to do. Whether it be you love to draw, you play an instrument, you create things with your hands, whatever it is, if you embrace that with the childlike energy of Sag and the exploratory energy of Sag, you're going to see a whole new reality if you continue on the path of doing the things that make you happy. Because that's what it's about. It's about putting that love into the things that you enjoy, the things that you love to do. And in turn, that raises your own vibration, but also raises the vibration of the collective. And that is ultimately what we are doing here. We're here to do that work. We're here to raise the vibration. Because as we do the work, the own inner work, the shadow work, the healing, we do those things, that energy is projected outwards to others. That energy is a beacon. And as most of us have been doing this work, it has just gotten brighter and brighter and brighter. So I really feel that a lot of you are going to be getting a lot of ideas come up within, since that's at 38, 3 to 8 days, but it could be, we're already in Sag energy. I was feeling it yesterday, the day before. Some people feel it 2 days before. It really just depends on you. But within the next 8 days, I'll say, 8 Sag, you guys will be getting this ancestry download, whether this is from your, a dream that relates to your Akashic records, or this is an ancestor, which I'm getting ancient energy from that, because dragons very much reminds me of very ancient old energy. These can be ancestors that you haven't even been in contact with, you haven't even experienced yet. So very ancient. But there's going to be something within the next 8 days. And it's going to help open this up for you so that you can face this shadow, the shadow within, this, like I said, when we were talking earlier in the beginning of this video, or this live, I should say, whatever that was as a child, whatever that fear was, because everyone has different ones, different things happened as children. We've all had sometimes very similar experiences, just in different ways, different forms with different people. But we all attach different definitions. So, and with the storyteller, what story did you tell yourself as a kid? What did you tell yourself about this shadow? What was the story you said, about whatever this theme was? Well, I experienced that, and it scared me. And so now, it's all about the story, guys. But the nice thing is as kids, we don't realize we can change the story. We can change our movie, right? We know this now because we create our reality. We know this by what we think and what we feel and what we speak. So now that we know we can change this and we are the storyteller, once we know this, then we can change that. And that shadow doesn't have to be a scary thing anymore. It can be whatever you want it to be. And all we have to do, and that's the idea hatcher, is say, okay, I'm going to make the story go like this, right? We create the story. So what story do you want to tell yourself? I mean, we can be so super creative, guys. I mean, we can. I mean, we know from the stories we told ourselves as kids. And then we attached a way to keep us safe because we didn't like the way we felt in that moment. And the story we told ourselves, oh, okay, well, this happened and I don't want that to happen again. So I'm going to do this, or I'm going to be this way so I will be safe. But now it has the opposite effect. Instead of us being safe, we're blocking out these blessings that are part of us. We're blocking out parts of ourselves because we're not facing these things, because we created a story as a kid and said, oh my gosh, this is scary. I don't want to face this. That was the story. So let's change it. We're in Sag energy, perfect time. Perfect time to create a new story. Perfect time to be allowing. So be open to these ideas that are going to come in, these epiphanies, these aha moments. Be open to these things. And your higher self, your guides, your ancestors, they will reach out to you in whatever way you feel comfortable, whatever way you have told them that you're comfortable with. I love music. So music and art are the two most important to me as far as ways that I like to receive messages. So every morning I wake up with a song. And I know that if I listen to that song, there's going to be a message for me. So you guys have to figure out what it is, what form you want your ancestors to talk to you, your guides, your higher self. Once you figure that out and you've established this within your mind, within your heart, this is the way I want to be, the messages to be given to me. Some people it's in dream time. It honestly, none of you are wrong. However you prefer it is fine for you. It doesn't matter what anybody else thinks, right? Because it is your story. So once you are open to receiving these, like I said, within the next 8 days, collectively, we will all have a new idea of how we want to tell this story. How do we want to reprogram this so that we can release this? Because in order for us to continue to move forward, we have to let that go. We have to let go of whatever that fear is. So, and most of you are aware of what this may be. It's possible that it's come up over the past couple of days, especially during Scorpio season. Because that's usually when things do come up. Scorpios, Scorpions are underground, and they go really deep. And so we're not afraid of the things that go bump in the night. But there are things, we're not oblivious. There are things that we have in our own lives. Everyone has something, right? But we have to retell the story the way we want it to be, not the way anyone else told us it had to be, or not the way that us as little children said that it had to be. We have to change that story. Nobody's going to change it for us, right? We have to change it. But very ancient energy. Some of you connect with some of you are very connected with the earth spirit, like being around trees and plants and things like that. Some of you may get some of your downloads by being around trees or being in the forest. They call it forest bathing. Forest bathing, or sitting next to a tree, a favorite tree that you're drawn to. Sit next to it. Some of you will get these epiphanies and these ideas when you're out in nature. Because this also looks like, okay, these are eggs. There's 5 eggs here, and only one is hatched, and the one that hatched is the dragon. So whatever this idea is that comes in from a very ancient ancestor, like I said, this can also be you accessing your Akashic records if you're doing this, if this is something you've chosen within your sleep, the dream space time. But once this is brought in, there's 4 others. There's 4 other ideas. There's 4 other eggs there. So there's 4 other things that you're going to look into, that you're going to embrace, that you're going to be given after this. But you have to be open. Talk to your guides. If you don't know how to talk to your guides yet, or if you're still in a space where you're not ready for that, journal. Write things in a journal. Write them down. Write them in pen, because pen is permanent. Write it down and talk to them that way. Or use whatever method works for you. Okay? Because everyone is different, and that's fine. Everyone can be different. It's all right. I mean, we're all meant to have our differences, and because we all bring something to the table. That's part of it. That's the amazing part of it. We all have, cool things that we can do. You just have to have that faith and love for yourself and know that it's okay. It's okay to be you. It's okay to have, those cool, amazing things that you can do, because not everybody can do that, because you are the only you in this world. And, you're on different timelines, and there's another one of you, but on a different timeline, but that's a different story for a different time. Right now, we're delving into this, which is what the collective is facing at this time. And there's, like I said, there's been a shadow that's been brought up, and it's from childhood. And I know a lot of you guys are like, oh, really? Because we've done a lot of work. We have. But some of us, there has been so many things that we tucked away in our subconscious. And in Scorpio season, it came up. And for some of you, may have just come up recently. But I feel like it's been over like the past couple of weeks. That was my own experience. Things that come up, from childhood, that were ways of handling things as a little child. But We need to retell the story. We need to change the story. That's the guidance for the collective tonight with this Sag energy. Retell the story of this shadow. Because we are the storyteller in our experience. Nobody else. Nobody else has control over your story unless you give it to them or you allow them. But it is your story. Remember that. You can change the story. A lot of us, we are taking our power back in whatever this is, which it's a fear, which is false evidence appearing real. As a child, it was very real to us. But we're changing the way we see that now. We're changing that story. And we can be very creative with this, guys. But the idea on how to address this and how to change the story is coming in. And like I said, it can be in many different forms. Everyone has a different way that they prefer to talk, whether it's they talk to their ancestors, their guides, their higher self. You guys have your own practices, your own forms, whether it's meditation, yoga, exercise. Some of you work out. Some of you play instruments. Some of you do art. Some of you prefer to do automatic writing. I mean, there's many different ways. Many, many, many. I mean, there's never ending. I could not possibly list all the different ways. So whatever way that you have chosen to receive your messages is the way that this is going to come in. And like I said, it's like I feel this is very ancient ancestor or something that is very old as far as something you've done in a previous life, Akashic records, like you're accessing it like that. And this can be either dream space. It can just be, during, like I said, however you choose to receive your downloads, however you choose to receive your messages is the way that you'll receive them. We're all different. But I do get very earthy energy from this as well, even though, Sag for sure. Sag is very creative energy, very passionate energy. And you do have someone, a protector with you. I mean, we always have our guides and ancestors around us, but this is a specific one. I'm getting royalty from that. Someone that's been, this can even be a pet, but has been with you many lifetimes collectively. Each one of us collectively have this protection with us during this time. We have it all the time, but the intensity of all the changes that's been going on over these past couple months has been, I'm talking, because it's been back to back to back to back. I don't know if you've noticed, but you can manifest so quickly now because your intentions are more focused. We have done the shadow work. We have been doing the inner work. We have been taking care of ourselves, nurturing ourselves, giving ourselves what we want to receive. So what we give is what we get. What we are within is what is shown outside of self. So we're always protected. It's just a matter of our belief in that protection. You see what I'm saying? What you think, what you speak, what you feel, that's how you create. That's how each one of us creates. So if you know that you are protected, then you are protected. But I do feel whatever this guide is, because I'm getting it very much. I mean, if you see this little creature behind her, so I feel like it's a pet. But very ancient being is there while you are receiving this download, this guidance, this epiphany moment, this idea, this creation, this creative energy. This is definitely a Sag card. I haven't read the book on this deck yet. I couldn't wait to get it as soon as I saw it was a dragon deck, because I've always wanted a dragon deck. So let me get a drink real quick, guys. Yeah, and then under the idea hatcher, we had 14, which is another 5. The crystal guardian. So, crystals. We all know crystals are ancient energy anyways. And crystals have a lot of power. And that dragon looks very ancient, and it being crystal. Something is awakened within us. And that's another 5. There's a lot of 5s on the board. So 5 to 8 days. You guys can be seeing a lot of 5s. I know I have noticed a lot more 5s showing up in my reality over the past couple days. Some of you may need to get new crystals for this new beginning. Because there's been a lot. There's been a lot of changes past couple months collectively. A lot of you have moved. A lot of you are in new spaces. You're in new careers, new jobs. A lot of you are starting your own spiritual business. There is a whole lot of things that have been changing, and I'm sure a lot of you are just like, oh, I just want to take a break because it's back to back to back to back energy. And now that we're in Sag, it's like a breath of fresh air. It's like, okay, I'm ready. I've finally gotten through all that and all the changes and the shifts and the rush, and let's get this, and a lot of, blessings happening really fast. Now we're getting to a space where it's all finally calming down. We're like, okay, now the creative energy comes in, and I have this shadow thing that's popped up, this thing that I did as a kid. But what story am I going to tell myself now? What am I going to tell myself about this? Because how we speak to ourselves matters so much. The things we tell ourselves are worse than anything anyone else outside of us could do. So we have to be very mindful of what we speak and the thoughts that we think, especially when it comes to us. Because what you say to yourself, obviously, you will then project, and someone else will show you that same energy. So we have to be very mindful with this shadow energy that's popped up. The old story is no longer relevant. Tell yourself that. The old story does not define you. It was a story. No different than your mom reading you a story in a book. No different than that. You can change that story. And that's what we're being asked to do. We're being asked to change the story. Some of you do probably need to get new crystals or cleanse the crystals that you have. Now is a good time to do that. Right now is also a great time to plant the new seeds. And that's what we're ultimately talking about with creating a new story, is going to plant new seeds. When you change your story, you change what comes in, what shows up in your reality. So just be open. Be open to the unfolding of this story. Some of you can journal if you want. I know it's assisted me on my journey. Mine started back in 2019, and I've done a lot of journaling. I have a lot of journals that I've filled up, and it has helped me in so many ways. So that is definitely something I recommend. And there is no said way that you have to do a journal. You do it the way that you feel comfortable. You put whatever you want to in there. And just put it in a place where you feel. If you feel like leaving it out, then that's up to you. Put it wherever you want. But it's interesting when we have journals, because you can go back and you can look at the story you were telling yourself a year ago. Look at the story you were telling yourself 6 months ago, and see if it's changed. If it has, then good. That means that you've been working on that part of yourself. You've been working on the way that you speak to yourself, and the things that you say, and the things that you do, and the way you feed yourself. And I'm not speaking of food. I'm speaking of social media, movies, music, things you entertain, people, places, things. When you truly start loving yourself, you really start paying attention to those things, because you crave and want beautiful, loving, amazing things in your life. You pull away from the other because you know that you deserve more. Hello, Miss Ruby Jewel. Good to have you here. You're a Pisces. Interesting. I have a lot of Sag in my chart. I'm a Scorpio sun, but I have Sag in like 6 planets. So yes, I'm very familiar with Pisces energy. My oldest daughter is a Pisces, and I've been around a lot of other people that are Pisces. But yeah, that's the overall collective energy I have for this evening. If you missed the beginning of the video, once I post, you guys can always go back and, watch it from the beginning for the overall collective message. But basically it's just, with this Sag energy, guys, we're rewriting the story, because we're the storyteller. We're looking at whatever shadow this is that has popped up, because even though we've gone through the depths and we've healed a lot of stuff, a lot of childhood stuff, we've rewritten those stories, we've reprogrammed those things. But there's always something in the subconscious we haven't faced yet. And that's what we're being asked to look at. What is it? What story did you tell yourself as a kid to keep yourself safe, but it's no longer relevant? Become that storyteller. because that's what we are. We create our reality by what we think, speak, and feel. You are the storyteller in your story. So let's tell ourselves a new story, guys, and be creative with it. This Sag energy is so creative. Um, Embrace it, allow it to flow in, allow it to wash over you. I know most of you you guys have been feeling this energy collectively. I started feeling it yesterday. Today, it was a whole different energy. So be ready for this within the next, I'd say 8 days. It's a 38. But be ready for this idea to come in. Like I said, can be from an ancient ancestor. It can just be your higher self. It can be something from your Akashic records. Honestly, I do not know. For each of you, it will be different. But it is a very old energy, whatever it is. But this is going to be a major idea for all of you. And it can be anything from, like I said, creating your new business, knowing your path and purpose, doing what it is that you really love and really enjoy. And ultimately, if you can go back to when you were a kid and remember what it was that you loved to do as a kid, the thing that just lit your heart up and just made you so excited as a kid. If you can remember those things and you can embrace that energy right now, it's going to allow those downloads to come in even better because you're in childlike energy. And that is the best way to bring in and allow messages, because as kids, we're not blocked. We're not afraid. As little kids, before things changed and we had that fear taught to us, before we learned that, we weren't afraid. So there was no block. We were open. We were allowing. And that's what we're going back to. So be ready for that, guys, because once that happens, and I know a lot of you have started to see over the past couple of months, things are very fastly manifesting. There is no more of the slow manifestation. Yes, we are going to have down times. I mean, that's expected because we do have peaks and valleys. That's part of the journey. But after this comes in, whatever this idea is, and every one of you is going to be different because it's part of your own path and purpose. After that, from what I'm seeing on here, it's showing there's 4 others. 4 others energy, 4 other like messages. It can be 4 other ideas, 4 other things that will be released from your Akashic records. It can be any of those. But it is time. I'm getting, that's what I just heard. It is time for this to come up. It is time for us to recreate. It is time for us to reprogram. Whatever this was, it's time for us to face it and rewrite that story. And you guys are supported. You're protected. You're guided. There are a lot of us out there on YouTube, a lot of other social media. We are here for each other, to guide each other. So you guys go with who you feel resonant with, because that is your intuition guiding you. More than likely, the ones you're drawn to are the readers that are on a similar path to you, a similar timeline to you, because we are all on different timelines. Some of us are on the same one, and it's not a straight line. It's a spiral. So just allow flow, trust your intuition. You will know, because certain people, you will feel this, it's like a camaraderie, like, oh my gosh, I feel so comfortable listening to this person, or I feel like I've known this person or I've met this person before. That is your intuition. That is your guidance. That is it can even be your ancestors and any of those. They're letting you know, yes, this is the person, because they're going to give you a message that I wanted you to hear. That's a lot of ways that our ancestors get in touch with us as well. So just pay attention to your intuition. Trust it. Trust in yourself. Ultimately, we are collectively, a lot of us, we are here for the collective. We're here to guide and help one another because we're all students and teachers. But like I said, just pay attention to what you feed yourself. Social media, music, anything, people, places, things. It's really important right now because in order for us to get these messages and stuff that's coming in, these ideas, these really, really big ideas in the Sag energy, we're going to have to be a little more protective of our energy as far as being more mindful. Like, do I want to engage, with this person or this place, do I get a good vibe from it? Because you want to be in a space, a really good mind space. And anytime we're around other energy, we know that other people, everything is energy. So when you're intertwining and mixing with other people, whether you're just in the same area as them, you will feel that energy. So it's really difficult for your guides and ancestors and stuff to get certain messages to you if you're not even in your own energy. If you've already been around a group of people and next thing you know, you're feeling all kinds of weird ways and you're like, wait, why am I feeling like this? Or why is my, throat feeling weird? Or, why is my stomach acting weird? Well, when you're away, then see what you feel like. If you don't feel that anymore, then you know that that was not your energy. And when you have all that other stuff going on, it's hard for us to receive these downloads. And whatever this is, guys, this is the big idea. Like, this is the major one. This is the one that we have been working towards. Like, we have done all this healing work, like a lot. All of you should be very proud of yourselves right now because you have gone through so much and you are so protected and loved. Your ancestors and guides are so proud of all of you right now because a lot of generational things have been broken, a lot of patterns, a lot of belief systems, a lot of things that have been ingrained way, way back. I'm talking very old ancestors. And that's where I get the ancient energy earlier. A lot of things from way, way back have been broken by a lot of you guys out there that are change makers. That was part of your purpose, was to be a change maker. So you guys should be very proud of yourselves. You've come a long ways. And yes, I know it's been rough. It's been a roller coaster, but you should be proud of yourselves. You really should. I'm proud of you. I love you. I appreciate all of you guys very much from the bottom of my heart. And this is the message I have for the collective. If you didn't get a watch from the beginning, like I said, you guys can go back whenever I get off this live stream. But I hope each and every one of you received something from this. And if it did not resonate with you, then come back and check. Because everyone is not on the same timeline, like I said. So if it doesn't resonate right now, check back at a later time because every single one of these is timeless. All of the messages that I do on my channel are timeless. That's why I do more lives because time is not relevant in these videos. So if it doesn't, check back at a later time. But I feel like for collective, the collective that is on the timeline that I am on, this is going to resonate. So that's what I have for you guys. I appreciate you and I love you all very much. And I will be back on the next moon, which will be the first quarter moon. And it is 11:11:11 on the clock right now. So perfect timing. All right. I appreciate you guys. Have a beautiful evening, and I will see you very soon. Good night.